Hey, welcome to a new video. Tonight we are doing something extremely special, partly because it's something that I've always wanted to do, and that's kind of highlight, the Kanjo culture here in Osaka and kind of show that people are still doing it, but sort of struggling to kind of, stay above the law. Tonight we have arranged a group of really sick Civics that you can see right behind me. And what you'll probably find interesting is that all these cars are driven and owned by women. So the cool thing for me is basically that this kind of side of Japanese car culture doesn't really happen in Tokyo anymore. The capital has gotten so strict that it's literally impossible for people to enjoy the shuto as they used to back in the day. But this still happens in Osaka, which makes it super cool for us to cover. And it's probably the reason that we always try to come down here to the Kansei area at least once or twice a year. So what exactly is the Kanjo? The Kanjo Loop is a 10.3 kilometer elevated section of the Hanshin Expressway that circles central Osaka. Unlike the Shutoko or C1 in Tokyo, the Kanjo is only clockwise, and rather than being 2 lanes all the way through, it stretches to 4 on its widest sections. It's pretty much an array of straight sections connected by tight bends, so it favors more agile, lighter cars that are able to bring in speed through the bends and power out efficiently, all the time dodging and weaving through traffic. This is one reason Civics of various generations have been the weapons of choice on the loop, coupled to their popularity in racing in the late 80s and throughout the 90s. What makes series and Group A racing in Suzuka and Central Circuit back in the day is what made Hondas so popular on the Kanjo. And of course, taking inspiration from race liveries is very much a part of the style today, as it's always been. Police crackdowns and surveillance cameras have helped shift Kanjo racers away from the loop and onto racetracks, but with every visit of Osaka, it's still very obvious that the thrill of street racing keeps many coming back. So what has shown up tonight is a really sweet EK9 Civic, and we have 3 EG6s, very different cars from each other, even though they're exactly the same base, but the styles, as you can see, vary so much, pretty much like the character of the owners. Some people like to go for liveries, others, the true kind of Kanjo racer style. And of course, there's always the clean street racer look, which is exactly what this candy red EG6 and yellow EK9 show off perfectly.
もともとプジョーの 206RC っていう車に乗ってて、でセントラルに行った時にほのちゃんの EK を見てめちゃめちゃかっこよくて、でそれで欲しくなって買いました。音が良かったんで、なんかうるさい乗り物っていうか目立ちたい乗り物みたいな乗りたかったんで買いました。そう買いに行った先でビストカーが好き、クラウンが好きなんですけど、が好きで買おうと思ったけど高くて買えなくて。シビックの方が安かったからシビックの方を買いました。知り合いがグランドシビック持ってて、でそれ見て私の旦那がかっこいいって言って。
I think out of the whole group, this has to be the craziest one. I think this pretty much for me sums up what a well-used Kanjo racer is all about. Battle-scarred and battered throughout. You can see the paint chips on the bumper. There's a missing headlight because, of course, getting air inside to the intake is more important. Indicator missing on this side. Carbon vented hood, which is actually smacked against the roof at one point. You can see the damage there also on the glass. Completely stripped out. There's not even a dashboard inside. You got the safety net across the window, TE37s front and back, and a cut bumper with that crazy center exit exhaust peeking through the middle. They even gone to the trouble of cutting out openings on each corner of the bumper to eliminate drag, and bigging up the team here. And of course, we'll get all the details for you in the B-roll for the interior. What a crazy machine.
ンジンが 18C のビッグスロットル、ミッションがフルクロス、で、車高長がスピリット、かなです。は、そのままで、ホイールかなあ、ダクターにしたのと、ホイールかなこれはもうこのままです。そのまま使ってます。何もない。ロールゲージはついてます。シートはブリット。
This thing has to win with the livery. It's gone for like a Ice Blast Marlboro livery, which are popular cigarettes here in Japan. But the whole thing is pretty much trying to recreate a pack of cigarettes, including the warning sign that you find on the back of the pack of cigarettes, all in Japanese there. And we get to the cigarette box on wheels here. Again, another B16 orange top with the same top fuel 01000 intake with that carbon expansion chamber. Filter's a little bit different on this one, might be a different version. Aftermarket radiator, they've kept it kind of the original extra short size compared to the crazy one here.
車高長、ゼロファイターの車高長と、ホイールが P1QF と、シートがブリットのフル掛けと、ハンドルがナルディに変わってて、あとデフが入ってるんですけど、それ以外は基本的にノーマルで、シートとか内装も全部残ってます。
Next up, the crazy Kanjo warrior here has a B18. You can see how it just sits a little bit higher compared to the 16. On the intake side, we have a custom pipe that basically scoops up all the air coming in from the intake, replacing the headlight. Got some aftermarket headers, and of course, the center exit exhaust we saw popping out the center. When it comes to car preparations, as we saw with the group we hanged out that night, engines are kept stock for the most part, with most attention being focused on stripping out the interiors, dialing in the handling and grip, and of course, nailing the overall visual style. However, while style is important, these are some of the most functional street racing cars out there. Learning about the various teams and the whole tribal nature of the Kanjozoku creates a tangible aura around it all.
暴走チックなところが、いいなっていうのと、車両とかも全部かっこいいし、私はもともと関東の人なので、どっちかというと関東の、好みがすごい強くて、関東の人は結構車をきれいに乗る。車高もそんなに低くなくて、車は常にピカピカにしていて、サーキットとかは行かないで首都高とかで集まるとかが多いんですけど、関西の人たちは結構車高も下げるし、結構いじるし、ガチャガチャになっても山走ったりとかサーキット走ったりとかしてて、全然やっぱり文化が違うなと思って。
Like, I'm super grateful that these guys joined us tonight for this video. This is something I've been meaning to do for so long. Kind of spend time with people that really get into the whole Kanjo culture and have done it for so long. And to boot, all female owners, which makes it even extra special. Massive thank you to them, and it's basically now time to head out to the Kanjo and see what this culture is all about. Hear it, see it in action, makes total sense. Alright, so before jumping on the loop, we are actually going to take a little break here in Amemura, literally right next to the highway entrance, right here. We lined up the cars to get some cool shots before we head onto the highway. It should be cool to just chill here for a little bit without attracting too much attention and see the cars under the natural light. You usually see vehicles like these. Of course, you don't really see this much during the daytime. And God, do they look good. So sick. This thing out on the street is just unbelievable. And as I speak, there's a Ferrari super fast heading onto the highway. That's so sick. And I guess we're really in the right spot. There's another Kanjo Civic lined up here, ready to head out with us. I thought it was heading into the highway, but it's joined us. So the other cool thing about this white Civic is that the owner actually races it at Central Circuit, so it's mainly a circuit car, hence the kind of very well used and battered look. But the cool thing is, not only does she run it at Central, but she's actually the champion for the female cup over there. You know, super cool to hear that. B18 swap, it's got a 5-speed close ratio transmission. So it's actually not really suited for the Kanjo, it's more for like Okayama and Central Circuit. And if you've ever wondered why Hondas, particular Civics, you know, CRXs and stuff are so popular here in Osaka, and of course they've become so popular and synonymous with the Kanjo, is because basically back in the early to mid 90s, one make series races with Civics were very, very popular in Suzuka, which is not too far from Osaka, it's a couple of hours north. And that kind of scene, that racing scene, kind of centered out Civics, kind of spun this interest in creating, I guess, the road-going version of race cars for the street. And of course, that's how they ended up being so popular for Kanjo action. So many other cars are dropping by now. This sick 180 has just parked up. Look at this, another EK and EG has joined up our little lineup today. Look how sick this is. Oh man, this just gets better by the minute. We were supposed to maybe head out, but I think we're gonna have even more cars join up. Man, they just keep arriving. We have an EK Coupe as well. All right, we just had probably the last edition of the night, the Big Boss. Last time we saw this guy, he was driving a black 992 GT3. Now he brought out his Lamborghini Aventador SV. So sick. Now that's a sick car to be bringing to the start of a really interesting night. He's just moving it. This is NGR for Northern Racing. And he's off. My God. What is happening tonight? This is crazy. This is supposed to be a nice little quiet cruise, but it's materialized into a whole different thing. And the good stuff keeps arriving. What on earth do we have here? Crazy Corvette. Oh my Lord.
Sitting in the heart of Osaka, American Village or Amemura is a meeting point for the Kanjozoku. Being the perfect place to assemble prior to going on a run, it offers up such a special vibe, fusing Osaka's buzzing night culture with what happens on the elevated highways above. The atmosphere is palpable, the low rumble of idling engines, laughter as friends meet and chat, and the intermittent roar of cars flying by over our heads. Standing there, I couldn't believe the stark differences between Tokyo and Osaka car culture. This is what Tokyo looked like 30 years ago, but in Osaka, it's still very much a thing. Amemura really has become a hub for Osaka car culture, and it attracts so much more than the Kanjo guys and girls. With the police hardly interfering, it's no wonder it's become such a cool and chill hangout spot after all the racing is done and after all the PAs have been closed down. But enough of this, on to some actual driving. always stood out about the Kanjozoku was the weaving across the lanes. Call it bravado. It's almost a way for them to celebrate the fact that they're out there enjoying themselves, something so closely linked to the Kanjo racer and Bosozoku cultures. Weaving is in fact very much a part of racing on the Kanjo, as drivers need to drive around taxis, trucks, and other general traffic, not to mention running away from the police.
I hope you enjoyed the video. We had a ton of fun looping the Kanjo, and just wanted to give you a great example of how these girls are helping to keep the Kanjo culture alive. It's alive and well, let me tell you that. There's a lot more coming from Osaka. We're gonna hit up Otomese tomorrow. Make sure you check back soon for more. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a like. Check out dinodc.co for the merch, and of course you can also follow us and support us on Patreon. Thank you so much. Check back soon for more. Massive shout out to John, who's again helped us put all this night together. Thank you so much, man. Really amazing night.
So if you guys are looking for any cars or anything from Japan, hit me up on Instagram, JapGoZoom. If you ever need any cars, from Japan.
Hit this guy up. You heard it.